Alright. G'day, welcome to another episode of Door Number C. I'm your host Caleb, and today we're going to be having a little look into the world of guilty pleasure films. Now, movies are an intimate thing. Filmmakers stir up our emotions and they get inside our heads. They speak truths and connect with us with a form of expression that's beyond the grasp of most, with articulations of such eloquence, illustrations of magnificence that lies beyond our mortal reach, beyond our imagination, and taking us to a place that's both alien and realer than real life. Or, ideally they should. Most of the time, most movies are just shit, right? And we have to do all the work to hold on to the things that had any degree of satisfaction to kid ourselves in thinking that the movie was good. Or, look, we're just confusing the mood we were in, the company that we were with, the place where we saw it, with the answer to the question, was the film any good? Now, that question is easy to answer. No. So I guess what the question is, what did you think of it? Would you watch it again, and why? Maybe you know somebody that likes some real average shit. Maybe you are that person. You definitely are. But now look, the truth is, we all are, and there's a whole spectrum of shit movies for us to navigate through. Films that turned cult because of how bad they were, a run of shit sequels that we had to endure during our childhoods, horror movies that just aren't scary, comedies that just aren't funny, films hinged entirely on dated misogyny and racist themes, movies with these exorbitant budgets that failed to even make close to a return, films where social politics play a bigger role than the actors, films that have no respect for the audience or the art, or ones that are just so fucking stupid you're embarrassed to admit how much you love it. These are the ones I'm going to focus on, and I'm going to. Right now. I see films as a vehicle for culture, education, leisure, and propaganda. They give us a way to explore the past, the present, and the future, albeit through a specific lens and context of the times that they were created. But look, they also create debate, conversation, and atmosphere. So first, I thought I wanted to see how films affected society, similar to how science and science fiction impact on each other. Well, I guess I was looking for someone to lay the blame for society's issues, and what I found, it really wasn't conclusive. Violent movies actually lower the blood pressure of violent people. The aftermath from Jaws saw a drop in beachgoers the following season. And some documentaries can change public perception, such as Bowling for Columbine or Super Size Me, but Macca's is just as popular as ever, as is mass shootings. Bambi lowered the deer hunting numbers by half after its release. Fight clubs sprung up all over the US and Europe, but look, that's nothing new. Anonymous got the idea for using the Guy Fawkes mask from V for Vendetta. Film as a viable architect for shaping society? Look, not really. If anything, it goes the other way around. So word-of-mouth marketing, or look, in this case social media, has a much heftier role in a film's success these days. Now, I've read that companies in America and India are data mining social media to evaluate the sentiment towards a movie, according to the demographics, and then alter their pre-release strategy to cater for the highest positive exposure. The advent and rise of social media has also made word of mouth an essential channel in creating the buzz before an opening night. But the same platform can destroy a film before the end credits even roll on opening night. Likewise, films that follow certain formulas or take a particular political side generate more buzz on social media. Hence, we've had the same couple of movies for the last 10 years. Now look, it's not as if all movies back in the day were great, but it's just the scale and escalation of blockbusters these days drowns out the rest of the industry. Now, George Lucas once thought that with the creation of the blockbuster, we would see an increase of the number of cinemas in the world and thus offer more platforms for smaller independent filmmakers to increase their exposure. The first part happened, the second part didn't. And now the movies that fill these new theatres cost more to make than a third world country debt. Now, I can't help it, and just like how we might judge a person by who they choose to be sexually involved with, I judge people by what movies they hold in low and high regard. Another reason I didn't want to go to film school. Look, too many people like me, and worse. But look, another thing is that you can actually profile a person from what movies they rate. It shows if they have some level of cultural capital or understanding of nuance or subtlety. It demonstrates a breadth of knowledge that encompasses history, suffering, honesty, authenticity, and class, of what's being represented. So where on the spectrum of shit you sit tells me more about you than simply what film faux pas you're willing to forgive. Getting back in line with the intimacy theme. You've just seen a movie and something with it satisfied something inside of you. But before you start to blindly spray your love for this film all over everyone in the splash zone, I think it's best you use some reflective practice and critical thinking and ask yourself, would I fuck this film? We've all dropped our standards at some time or another to enjoy, a little bit of
sinning most vigorously.
And the same is said for movies. So, in my case, I would figuratively fuck Paul Walker. I fucking loved Paul Walker and nearly everything that he did, right? Varsity Blues, 8 Below, Timeline, Fast and the Furious, and especially when his acting was really bad.
Paul, look, if he see you like this, dog, he's gonna flip out, dog. You're doing too much right now. Diesel time. Diesel time! Diesel time!
It was just so hard not to enjoy watching him loving what he did so much. And yeah, look, if you liked Paul Walker and haven't seen the film Hours, it's not a waste of time. And this is coming from me, and I hate suggesting films, right? I rarely ever do it. Except Logan. If you haven't seen Logan, stop watching my shit and go stream it or something.
Do it. Do it.
Once, off a recommendation from a friend, I took some other friends to go see the movie Alexander. And we had the worst time ever. I still get sideways glances if I ever suggest anything to these people. And look, they say shit to me like, you remember that time you took us to see Alexander? And I was going off a fucking suggestion. I didn't, sit you down and,
You know what's best.
So look, and I think there's got to be some way of recommending stuff that differentiates the good, the bad, and the ugly. Where on the spectrum of shit does this film sit? So the clue I find is to look at how it's packaged and learn what pre-existing connections you have to the product. Who stars in it, and what's your opinion of them? Same question, but who made the film? Do you have an affinity to the genre, the location, or the time period? Is it linked with another film, book, or series that you know of? And how do you hit the mark for its target demographic? So when you go a little bit deeper, ask yourself if something in the film perfectly plays into your political ideology. Is there something personal about it? Was there some homage to a film you saw when you were young, like a reminder that helped shape your love of a specific genre? Right? 4 out of 5 of my guilty pleasure films are science fiction. Is there an actor in it that you would forgive for anything? Paul Walker. How pretty is the movie? The special effects, the actors, the mise-en-scène, and how much pressure is there to enjoy the film? Can you have a fair and balanced assessment of the movie's strengths and weaknesses and not want for better? And does your predisposition for the film's obvious themes cloud your judgment of its objective quality? These are the things I reckon that make up the foundation of a guilty pleasure film, and there seems to be a point where a film's failures in telling a well-crafted story becomes overshadowed by these elements I just listed. But not always, right? I didn't like Black Panther, but I don't rate it at all, and failed twice in trying to rewatch it. But the annoying thing is though, I am predisposed to seeing diversity represented outside of the constraints of the normalized negative stereotypes. And for this reason, the pressure to patronize and promote this movie, something that we all do when we enjoy a film, was legitimate, and I was ready. It was exceptionally pretty. The costumes and sets, the language and accents, the location and the mise-en-scène, the special effects, mostly. It had a cast that I love watching on screen, and it carried the spirit and imagination of science fiction that has helped shape my love of the genre. It's connected to a story that I'm following, and I was excited about getting an origin story for a cool character. I loved everything about most of it. But the script. Jesus, that story sucked. Fuck! The characters, the interactions, the motivations, the tropes, the chain of events from the setup to the wrap-up made no fucking logical or rational sense. Goddamn lazy fucking writing. How can Vibranium just do whatever the script needs to? Everything about Killmonger. Except the casting. Michael B. Jordan was rad. Spider-Man already showed us what happens when you give laser weapons to criminals. They hold up ATMs. How's this peaceful utopian society run based on whoever can punch the hardest? Oh, whatever. But they descended into civil war in a week. Look, no, there's just too much to get into, and this video is too short, so it's for this reason that I can't call it a good movie. It is the most popular and highest grossing standalone superhero film of all time. So if asked, I can confidently say that it is a movie that you will enjoy. It's not a fucking good movie. Let's stop kidding ourselves, right? It's a guilty pleasure film. Let it be. The current lack of quality films and changes in moviegoer attitudes are descending us towards a place that does not respect the craft of storytelling. Storytelling, right? The thing that separates us from the animals is being eroded. Giving us fucking remakes or reboots, retellings, video games, cartoons, books, comics, graphic novels, basically, look, anything devoid of originality. And myself included, have rewarded them by buying movie tickets and fucking Blu-rays. Look, anyway, I don't want to take away the pleasure that you experience from watching your summer blockbuster. Just know that what stories we tell and patronize tells a lot about us as a society. And if you haven't the faintest idea of the mechanics behind what shapes your popular culture, your desire to be entertained and your need to publish your opinion and preconceptions, this generation is shaping their legacy through their ignorance and not their achievements. And this is something that future generations will judge us on, as we judge past civilizations on their leaders, social structure, and culture. To me, the legacy of our popular culture is teetering towards embarrassment, not pride. I've watched Terminator go down the fucking toilet, X-Men turn to pure shite, I watched Predator embarrass himself, Star Wars well and truly flushed, the Alien franchise had the last nail with Prometheus, a 7th Batman has been cast now, 2 more fucking Transformer movies are in the works, and the MCU is just now all CGI, fan service, and formulaic advertisements. I have a soft spot for the new Spider-Man, but when the fuck is enough enough? Phase 4? Jesus, Disney, pump the fucking brakes. Now, I just looked at some of the numbers, and the same amount of money it cost to make the MCU films, we could have landed some astronauts on Mars and brought them home again. Just saying. So, in conclusion, if watching shit movies gives you pleasure, then cool beans, you know, lucky you. But being deaf to constructive criticism isn't progressing the industry as a whole forward, or you as an informed consumer and communicator. And also because the demands on the industry to do better is lost in the white noise of opinion. So, with all that being said, here's my top 5 guilty pleasure films as of today, likely to change when better trash comes out. You've got The Core, Timeline, Battleship, Pacific Rim, and Sahara. And an honourable mention goes to Solo. I'm done. That's enough for now. Let's just try and get on with our lives, eh? Alright, I'm Caleb. This has been Door Number C, and join me next time when we have a little look into the world of something. Okay. Goodbye.